Hello, travelers. Hi.
Hi.
I'm not Kagi Kaner, and this
Hi.
is not Kevin Piper.
No, definitely not.
Who we actually are. I'm here with my good friend and victim of cyberbullying,
Oh Lord.
SJ.
Hi, I'm the victim of cyberbullying apparently, and here is my cyberbully and partner in crime, as I would like to call them, Jeanette Entropire.
You flatter me. Uh, Today we are here doing a Q&A session for our reverse AU. And for those of you who don't know what this is,
And
why
I'm
are you
still-
listening?
Yep.
But I'll do some exposition, I guess. This is our little silly little AU, reverse AU. Basic premise: the characters of the Juniverse in the Penumbra podcast by Sophie Takagi Kaner and Kevin Vibert. Thank you, Kings. We have basically just taken the main characters and switched their roles with Buddy and Vespa, as opposed to Juno and Narev.
Yes. We've lesbianified the entire premise of this show. And yeah, there's a lot in between there that if you're new to this, I don't know why you listen.
I get out.
Yeah.
Leave.
Very welcoming.
Whatever. You get this far.
Alright.
Let's get into the questions. We got an interesting one for the opener. If you yourself could live in the Penumbra universe, where would you want to live out of the places we've seen or heard about in canon so far? This one is from Nova. Thank you, Nova.
Thank you, Nova. My answer for this one is Leverrier. Which is an interesting answer, but mostly I do want to do it for the aesthetic. It seems like an Instagrammable place.
I honestly don't even remember when they mentioned Leverrier.
It Tools of
Sorry about it.
Rust.
Oh, right, they go there.
Yeah, Rita was like, wow, pretty.
Yeah, she does that literally everywhere they go. So how am I supposed to remember?
That's very fair.
As for me, I really think, okay, Io,
You get
Juno
to be-
Steel,
Yeah.
my phone is off silent. You know, call me. I'm just saying.
That's your way of saying you're gonna be Diamond in season 4.
Hey. Look, the Penumbra podcast team, they have my number.
Yeah.
I'm here. From one she-they to a group of gays, all right? I got you. I can sound like a bitch. I can sound like a bitch who'd leave Juno at the altar. I can do it.
You got left behind at the at the escape room.
Oh, left behind it. Yeah. Okay. I would hate doing an escape room with Juno. That's what would finalize the divorce for me.
The divorce. You didn't even
We
get
haven't
married.
even gotten married yet,
Yeah.
and I'd say it's over. My prenup. Okay.
Right.
But
It's the best first question. Alright, we've got two. These are pretty much just like connected to each other, so we're reading them at the same time. The first one we've got from Danny. What does planning reverse AU actually look like, and how do you balance like working collaboratively with your own ideas? And from your bro Julian, how long did it take to set all of this up? Like, what were some of our biggest hurdles in creating an episodic podcast? And do we take notes to make sure that the continuity is there? Damn.
Well,
good
yeah,
questions.
Jason's got some great questions. He came into my DMs and he was like, "Sister, I have some questions for you," and then like actually sent me good and constructive
Wow.
questions. Okay, thank you. But I think in terms of planning reverse AU, we go to the transcripts,
Mm-hmm.
go to the doc,
Copy paste.
select, copy paste, and we just kind of work from there. And in terms of notes for continuity, it's less of notes and more of SJ pretty much just slamming into my DMs while I'm in class, while
Doing
I'm
homework.
literally taking an exam. That's happened before. Um,
Once.
like yeah, once, but it just is imprinted in my memory. Oh God. I
What?
click into the other tab, and my roommate goes, "Oh God," because SJ's just sent me this wall of text.
You asked
Um,
me.
I asked you to, but even so, you did frighten him. But yeah, I
Listen.
mean, you want to talk on this?
Well, considering the fact that for me, because we are living pretty much internationally, Jeanette Jeanette lives across the world. It is 2 a.m. for me, so planning reverse AU for me looks like a 5 a.m. session, wherein I am incredibly sleep deprived and Jeanette just entertains me. because I'm an awful person. So I'll just be like, hey, what if this happened instead of that? And you just go, okay, let's add on to that. And then that's pretty much just how we planned out most of our
Our collaboration is just being awful, wicked people together.
Yeah, we got
Which
evil, nefarious plans.
I am the
Mhm.
plague rat, and SJ is the plague flea.
Yeah.
And together we spread our
Plague.
agenda across our plague across the internet.
That's actually where the playground came from.
That is where the playground. We have a server with a few of our friends that we kind of bounce ideas off of when we don't have anywhere else to go. And yeah,
Yeah.
it was ground zero for our plague.
Well,
Well,
it
started in
depends.
October,
Yeah, no,
right?
it depends really on like what kind of setup we're talking about. Like setting up, like adapting the script takes a really long time. Mostly because we have things to do. Setting up like recording the episodes also takes a long time. Also because we have things to do and we are both like incredibly poor. But when it comes to just setting up like plot points and plot arcs, that like takes just like one 5 a.m. session mostly.
Oh yeah.
The biggest hurdle pretty much of making this entire like episodic concept we have is like just having time to make stuff with each other.
Definitely. You know, we're always working around our time zones and our respective schedules. We're both full-time students right now, and I live in a dorm with
Mhm.
5 other full-time students, so it can be really hard to find times to record and, you know, call and hash out plot points together or
Yeah.
actually write scripts. But when we do sit down to work on a script, I think balancing our work collaboratively it's pretty balanced.
Yeah.
You know, I'll have an idea, like a really clear vision of something, but I won't really know how to execute it. So I'll be like, SJ, come help me with this. Or, you know, SJ will be, you know, making some switches and be like, Jeanette, I need your buddyisms. Come budify this dialogue for me.
The
And I'll
modification of the array of lines is incredibly difficult.
it is incredibly fun for me. um, but you know, I think we both play to our strengths in that
Yeah.
way, and we end up, you know, working together pretty well.
Wow.
I think.
Okay.
Go to the next one. This is an interesting one. What's y'all's process for character designs for the art that we've created? Specifically, this one's from Samia.
Yeah.
Alright.
Hi, Mr. Samia.
Or the Ruby 7. When it comes to character design for the art, like because so far I think pretty much I've been like churning out the character designs like visually because I have literally nothing to do sometimes and I get really bored. It's just mostly been like inspiration from couture, like ready to wear runway collections, and our like long running sun and moon motifs, and
Gotta love
a
it.
little extra on the side that we can't reveal yet until we get to season 3.
A bit of a spoiler. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the viz dev that we've done for the character designs, we haven't been able to release a lot of them yet because we looked very far ahead in terms of artistic vision in later episodes. But for the ones that we've done so far, I mean, a lot of it is taking inspiration from general like future noir, what a lot of the fandom conceptualizes already for Juno and
Yes.
Araev, and just flipping that to be what perhaps Buddy and Vespa would wear in those roles. Very specifically, I know my Agent Adol design was
Yep.
heavily inspired by Stez's Dark Matters designs.
Of course. We'll pay dues to
There's
Stes Alamango's art. Or as
Alamango's art.
as is currently the username for podcast of Stes Homeostasis on Twitter. Pay her dues. She's an incredible artist.
Her so funny.
K-Bert call.
All of it. Ebert, I'm just saying, you need an character designer.
All right. So, we've got another 2-part question. First part from Nova. Since obviously we're not doing all the episodes, is there like a set of episodes we'd want to do if we had the time to flip it? And from Gab, on that same vein, what Junoverse story that we're not writing do we wish we want to like adapt to Reverse AU itself?
Yeah, I think I don't know about you, okay, but I think my immediate answer for this is we're planning on doing very specific episodes out of season 3, so we end up like overlooking the ones that would be so much fun to do, but we really just don't have time. And one of those for me is Cyberbots, or Ultrabots of Cyber Justice, as it is actually called. I just think it would be so hilarious and so interesting to see that whole episode from Jet's point of view, because that is how we would be writing it for our Reverse AU. And not only that, just the hijinks that Juno and Araev and Rita go on. What would that look like with Buddy, Vespa, and Jet? Because Jet in RAU is the baby of the group. He's the youngest.
Yeah.
So just imagining him just going around and doing his little
Yeah.
it
Or
would
he
be
gets
really-
to be the rescuer this time. Gosh.
Yeah, it would be really
Ugh.
nice to look at.
I mean, we'll see if I can churn out a little fic like Phoenix of Soul. We'll see.
You should have.
Shoulder shimmies. We'll see. Mine would be on that same vein because we really do love Jetsi Kuliak. Really do. On that same vein, I would want to do like a Soul of the People esque like episode because we have very, very different plans for the season 2 that is not happening in our brains. In my
mind.
brain specifically.
It is so sick. Absolutely sickening.
Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment.
You better. Hard enough as it is to get you to take them.
Oh,
But do you want to speak a little bit more on that?
well, it's just that, you know, if you've read so far on like Phoenix of Soul, or like even just like the first few parts of what we've got so far with like 3M and Raywords Gamble, Jet and Vespa have a very specific like dynamic that isn't present with Juno and Rita, specifically in that Vespa gets to be the protector in this scenario, and Jet is very specifically just like our homebody. He's our homeboy. He's the house husband, as I would call him. He's pretty much just, to borrow from the finale, he's Vespa's beacon. He's the harbor, pretty much, at the end of the mission. So just to have the dynamic specifically for Vespa and Jet is very unique, considering the fact that they have not interacted so far in canon that like emotionally. I want to explore that. This will be a fun little exercise.
Yeah. Okay, so our next question,
Oh my gosh.
very important. how many times will you use Crazy Frog? This is from Samir, and he says that the answer should be every episode. So
This is our track, Crazy Frog Wonderland from the lovely Buttons who remixed remix the thing. We
the
used
best
it.
remix.
Yeah, best remix of all time. We used it for both parts of 3M. The answer, as Samir did say, should be every episode. We'll see. We'll see how many times I can put it in the episode.
I am already making plans of
I
where
see.
I can put it
I
in
see.
every episode.
Well.
I haven't told SJ yet,
I
but
see.
very specifically, I have.
You heard it here,
thoughts.
folks. Oh, thank you, Mr. Sumia. That was a very important question. So, next question. What's been our favorite parts of writing Reverse AU so far? Like what changes from the canon, according to Danny? Yes.
Ian-
And according to Samir, like which do you have a favorite character that we've character arc that we've written so far?
Well, I think my favorite part of writing Reverse AU and the favorite change from the original canon, I love coming up with all of Buddy's aliases. I think it is so I love doing like name symbolism and like name symbology. I'm a big fan of that. As a classics major,
classics major.
I had a really fun time workshopping what the thread of Buddy's alias is, like what the thread of the alias, because Nereyevs, they
Yeah.
are all some kind of royal or
Yeah, you can self promo myself. We got that thread going. With the
yes, that's a great thread. So with Buddy, we decided that we wanted to use a sun or a light motif with
Right.
her. So coming up with things that still made sense and felt like they could be an alias while still having that symbolism
Right.
was really fun and really interesting. As for favorite character arc that we are currently writing, because we're not done with these characters
Oh,
yet
Lord.
by any means. I feel like Vespa's arc is the most touching. I really enjoy what we're doing with her character because obviously, like, her struggles in canon are all very linked, as they should be, to her hallucinations and her, struggles with that. But in Reverse AU, we're getting a chance to look at what she was before all of that and what really made up like the basis of her character, because with canon, it's Vespa being taken from her prime, not
Right.
not being like and having to relearn that she, still, that she has worth. She isn't being taken from her prime. She just has to
Prove
learn how to
herself.
cope. Yeah, she has to prove herself. She has to learn how to cope with what she has. But with Reverse AU, we're getting that, how we've written it, that, model immigrant angle, her issues with self-worth and feeling that she's not good enough,
Right.
and
Because,
so on and so forth.
Because it's too hard to just like start her character from scratch because we didn't know who Vespa was before like literally anything.
Yeah.
Apart from some snippets from her vows with Buddy, I think like for the most part the only thing that we got from that is just like she likes it when people think she's funny.
Which comedy queen.
Yeah, she is comedy queen. We really had to think about how to translate Vespa from someone in her 50s who is trying to prove to everyone, but most specifically to herself, that she is still like the person who she was at her prime, and like translating that as someone who is like, since she's like technically like a model immigrant, like it really translates well with trying to do twice as better as everyone else. It's literally just built into her character at this point.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's why I like, obviously Juno and Sasha, there are huge parallels there in canon. And that's why I like what we did with Vespa's character, because we haven't lost those parallels
Yeah.
with Vespa and Sasha now. them
Their
growing up.
exes.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
to that.
But what about you? Favorite part of writing change, favorite character?
I mean, for the most part, it would be just a lot of our favorite parts of like changes and stuff is like coming from Vespa because we don't really get a lot about her apart from Shadows on the Ship, which she was in a very stressful situation, so it's not really normal Vespa. In Heart of It All, we get like a little snippet of her being like, you know, the level-headed type of person who is willing to risk a lot just to please someone else, like to the detriment of her own health until someone calls her out on it. So, like, a lot of the favorite changes that I've had, like, in writing Reverse AU would be just the vulnerability with Vespa. And the funniest way we can manifest that is her allergy.
Oh my god.
No, I am bringing it back to her allergies. It's just so funny.
I know. It just... And of course, if you didn't know, I'm the voice of SPLK and
Oh my
Reverse
God.
AU. But having to, you know, do... It really adds another layer to her character because, you know, to do her voice, she's this rough, you know, surprisingly, you know, vulnerable in her monologues, but this very outwardly rough and loud and angry woman, and I love her for it, but also having those kind of like sly, I know I've got a sweet tooth, or the allergies, you know, sneezing with Buddy's cologne. I think it helps humanize her and
Yeah.
add another layer to
Oh,
this
wow.
woman that we already love in canon.
She's an onion.
She's an onion. She's got layers. Peel 'em back.
With character arcs though, I would say Buddy. Very specifically, now that we're approaching, well, we're in the middle of writing Final Resting Place. You guys will see what I mean about Buddy's character arc.
Oh,
A lot
yeah,
happens
guys.
with her.
See.
Like, yeah.
Yes. Okay. What's the scene you had the most fun reimagining? Also, the scene you had the most difficulty with. This one's from Trisha.
Railbird's Gamble had a lot of scenes, but like my favorite one, like reimagining, was like the argument that Vespa and Buddy had in the bathroom.
God, yeah.
That was so fun to do, especially since like Juno didn't really have much to say in that scene in the original, and considering their characters, they're not really like the type to just back off from each other's challenges. So when we wrote that in, I really just went ham with how I was characterizing Vespa.
Yup. That was so much fun.
The most difficulty writing, I would say, just like the parts where like you don't know where to draw, the line where Vespa would like crack a joke and Juno would crack a joke, because they're both kind of like dry humor kind of ladies like that.
That was funnier.
Yeah, Vespa's funnier. Full offense to every Juno kitty out there.
Full offense. I'm sorry. I have never seen more jokes in my life, more unfunny jokes in my life, and I live with a middle-aged white man. My father is hilarious, so
Yes.
that's not even a good comparison. But I think the scene I had the most fun reimagining was definitely also from Railbird's Gamble, the scene with the notes. Because that was something that we kind of thought about for a while. We were like, oh, how are we going to change this from Nureev's like harmless doodles and Juno's paranoia to something that fits their characters more? And just having Buddy go on and on about her plans and like the notes about her aliases, I just thought was hilarious. I had so much fun.
We didn't realize that when we were doing it. That was like a big
No.
step for Buddy.
That was a big step for Buddy. But also hilarious.
Yeah.
And it's so much fun. Not only was it so much fun to reimagine it, it's also so much fun to do it.
Yeah.
Like to voice it, because you just get this like amping up, like in What Lies Beyond Part 2, you know, when she goes
the famous Buddy Ringo patter.
The famous Buddy Ringo patter is on at full force. I just getting to translate that side of Buddy that we hadn't really yet seen and
Yeah.
putting it into reverse AU and making her as flamboyant and pissed off as I could.
Yeah.
That was very fun. As for
For
Oh, yeah,
full
what's up?
context on that one, when we were writing that and when we released it, I was not caught up for the rest of the season. I was caught up like until Shadows on the Ship, and then I had nothing else. So I was working off of what Jeanette was giving me.
Yes, I definitely was feeding a lot of my What Lies Beyond Part 2 agenda
Of
in
course.
that scene.
was brilliant, though.
Without spoiling, I was like, what if we... But as for the scene that I had the most difficulty with, and SJ like knows how much I struggle with this, Vespa's end monologue in Railbird's Gamble. It's just this crazy vulnerable moment for her. She starts trusting Buddy
Yeah.
for the first time. And there was just this very specific phrase that Juno used that I wanted to reinterpret for Vespa, because the light in the plant imagery I thought was going to be like really good and really sickening, but
Yep.
I just couldn't get it out. It just sounded corny whenever I did it, so SJ helped me, and now it's
that's the handshaking we're going. It's
that's the handshake.
it's because you have problem with like you have problems with like some kind of intimacy, and I get really into that for some
Oh my-
reason.
Oh my
No, not
God.
personally, like a writing wise.
Yeah.
I've seen your work.
Yeah, no intimacy here. We are being
Funny all the
all
time.
flash, all the feathery words that
Of
I drape
course.
over,
All perfume and no thorns.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question we've got from Nova, kind of the same vein. Was there anything or like any scene that we had to write that we really did not want to do or like had to push through because like we just could not omit it?
I don't know about you,
Mhm.
but the scene in 3M when they're running away from the cameramen and Vespa's like, good television, buddy,
Lord.
hit me. And Buddy's like, what the fuck are you talking about? That was so stupid. I wish we could have just cut it all out.
Yeah.
But, oh god, I hated that. And maybe that also just stems from me hating making, like, noises when I'm voice acting.
Quote, unquote, visual
it's-
gags and audio is weird.
yeah, I hate it so much. It's just you're sitting at your desk or in your closet and you have to go, ooh. It's awful. It's absolutely awful. And
I
it's
wanna
easier
use
for
that
Vespa.
somewhere. We'll come
Oh
back
my
to
God.
that. I'll put a note on it. Well, we didn't have a lot of like scenes that we had to like keep in Railbird's game because we really like went off the rails on that one. Pardon the pun. But
fun.
the hardest part of like the ones that like we have to push through are like the ones that we really can't remove because it's like such a vital part of the original episodes that we couldn't remove it. So right with Railbird's Gamble, we could not remove a lot of like Engstrom scenes in the Rankin Street poker game. With 3M, it was like a lot of like Cecil's stupid game. As
Yeah.
much as I love playing the guy, it was just so much.
Oh, I would not have let you cut a single moment of season just so we could hear you simper. oh my-
No, I would have extended that.
Oh yeah.
No,
the
writing
freaking
wise, that I
little-
would have
yeah.
kept all of that in, but like all of the like the stupid game that you had to do, it was
Yeah.
like, it was hell to edit all of those stupid
Oh, yeah.
Karen
Oh yeah.
yeah, so that's
Yeah.
pretty much it.
And I mean, with Engstrom too, like the street poker, like having to
God.
figure out the logistics of the game and like
Please.
why.
Please.
Because of course we had Buddy take the pill, so we were just kind of like, why can't we just do this with it and cut it all out? But
Mhm.
it's too integral to the plot.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
And you can't
But
you can't call me dumb for trying to figure out how the stupid like fictional game of street
You
poker
were just
is.
going way too hard into it. You just have to be like, okay, it's poker, but
I have
it doesn't
never
make
played a
any
game of
sense.
poker.
No, yeah, I mean, and it's not even really poker. It's more
Right.
like,
It's like,
20 questions. with a
It's
deadly
hard
truth
to
element.
it's just hard to balance like how would someone who knows how to play this game just omit so much of playing the actual game? So I didn't know how to balance that.
I think you should read this question.
Oh lord. Okay. Okay.
I mean, this is probably one
This
of
is
the
most important question.
questions that
Yes.
we've gotten.
Shout out to my partner Samir, who asks the best question in this entire Q&A. So, does McRory love Samir?
Well, I gotta say,
Oh god.
Samia, you know, Kapoor had the lead pipe for Juno and for Vespa down at the station. But you, I got my lead pipe. Fuck. I couldn't do it. I couldn't. I got my lead pipe for you.
So wrong.
I got it back at the station. Don't worry about it.
I can't believe
Forget
I'm
about it.
third wheeling with fucking McRory. Cool.
Oh, come on, Cardo. Oh, Cardo moment.
People don't know who Cardo is. It's fine.
I love Cardo. I think McCrory and Cardo, best friends for life.
Best friends for life.
Okay, so the next question we have is from Stez. Hi, Stez, love you. Starts out great. Because we're gay. Thought
Of
process
course.
behind Vespa being exes with Cass. And if you guys ever thought about it, what were those relationships like? I get Buddy and Vicky, but Vespa and Cass are so interesting.
So the main thought process of that is actually incredibly stupid, because we do have Vespa and Sasha being exes too. So the main thought process was like Vespa has a type, and it is women who are really just like stubborn about getting what they want. Did she work her way up?
Well, by that logic, she should be dating Miasma next.
Except we know what happens to Miasma. So
Rest in piss. In soup.
Juno's already taken, so
That's
we
true.
don't really have to
Whoa.
work our way up
Nope. Nope. We're not going there. Vespa and Juno? Nope.
there. Nuh-uh.
Nuh-uh.
So
Anyway.
of course.
The thing about Vicky and Buddy, I find it funny that you're like, of course, that makes perfect sense because says you and I are always on the same wavelength when it comes to crime milfs. But I literally was just like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if the reason why Buddy doesn't like Vicky is because they're exes? And thus, our crime milfs of Hyperion agenda was born. Other than that, yes, I do have an additional question, and this was not listed on our little
Oh.
document. SJ,
Mm-hmm.
Vespa's exes,
Mm-hmm.
fattest to flattest. What's the ass looking like?
Buddy cast Sasha. She
Thank
did
you.
work her way up. I did say that.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay.
Stubbornness is stored in the ass cheeks.
Oh my fucking god. Dude, if that were true, Vespa's, I mean, not Vespa's, well, yeah, Vespa's, everybody's asses would be so fat then.
Spiritually is very fat.
Spiritually, it's true.
We
But
love
okay.
women.
We do love women. I'll do this one too, since you did too.
Yes.
So 3M follows the plot of 2M pretty closely, but the Railbirds Gamble went really off the rails, pardon the pun, from OG Train from Nowhere. What was the process where y'all figured out what you would keep versus change from TFN, and how is it different than planning 3M? That one's from Danny. And then in line with that, how did you go about deciding how to shake things up in terms of the roles for Vespa and Buddy to play in this story? That one's from Gab.
Thank you. Well, when it comes to like figuring out the process, we really did like have it all down to pat when it came to our version of TFN, because in 3M we couldn't really change a lot because that would be really shocking to have as an opening to pretty much just like a what if AU. When it comes to like deciding what to shake up, it would technically all be like character dependent, because as we've mentioned earlier, when choosing scenes that would happen to Buddy and Vespa, we wouldn't really like tackle all of the things that Juno and Narev would have to go through because they're so different like as characters. So it doesn't really it doesn't really align.
And also, I think in terms of Train from Nowhere specifically, it has a lot to do with Vespa's motivations and where they differ from Juno's in this. Because our season 1, it isn't about Vespa going after the Martian artifacts and actually not trying to do her job. But the thing that we established about Vespa is that she very much keeps her head down. She takes the cases that, are given to her. She
Come
doesn't
to her,
yeah, she doesn't bring herself to care about anything that isn't directly affecting her or her people. And by her people, I mean Jet. But then, Buddy, of course, comes into her life and Vespa begins investigating her and just happens to get caught up in this whole save the world plot. So, she differs from Juno in that she's not, Juno was tolerating Nureyev in order to get answers about the Martian artifacts. But Vespa's goal was to get to Buddy and get back to her and figure her out. So I think that is where a lot of the changes for Railbird's Gamble and also just based on how their personalities differ from Juno and Nureyev. We made a lot of decisions informed by how they would act, which meant we had to take some scenes and completely rework them because they just weren't working for the characters that we had, i.e. the notes scene.
As per our Railbird's Gamble script editor North, thank you North.
You are live. North.
Vespa being an ex-medic / ex-forensics, she really just went through the whole medical training stuff. So there was the concept that North pretty much just introduced to us. It's the concept of compassion fatigue, and that really came into how we wrote Vespa as a character in TFN because Juno does not have that concept in his brain. He's very much just I'm the hero of this story. I need to be the one saving everyone.
Definitely.
So,
and Vespa, it comes from her background as a medic. You can't, obviously you try to save who you can, but you can't save everyone. It's just not possible. And that's kind of the angle that we went for with her character here, which plays off of Buddy very interestingly, as you can see.
We'll see more of it.
We'll see more of it.
If we had an unlimited budget, how would you like to produce Reverse AU?
I feel like the expected answer is maybe, we'd want to actually get a voice cast. So we're both not having to voice literally every single character.
Everyone?
But I'm an incredibly vain woman, and I like doing all the voices. So that's half a joke.
I like doing the villains. It's fun.
Yeah. Well, that's your prerogative. But I mean, other than that, it would be really nice to have a recording space.
A studio.
Wow.
It would be really fun to be in the same space while we're doing any.
Well, that's just yeah. We'd really love the budget to fund international trips back and forth, so we can all record in the same place. That's totally unrealistic, but it is an unlimited budget, so what are you gonna do? But it would be really nice to have that and be able to outsource our editing.
Yes.
To
Lord.
Because just the nitty gritty of having to splice all the audio together and doing all the sound effects and balancing and blah blah blah.
Now we have an additional
time. Oh yeah.
Recording apps. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Doing this Q&A was hell on earth. I had to update my 2-year-old OBS to do it, and I'm sure that the audio quality is going to be awful. I'm so sorry.
I will try my best.
Yeah, I think that's what we would like to do if we had an unlimited budget. It would also be nice to be able to commission people for posters.
Mm-hmm.
But we are both artists, so I suppose you'll have to see in the future what happens with those posters. No spoilers.
No spoilers.
Okay. Were there any themes you incorporated into Reverse AU that either paralleled or subverted themes in canon? This one's from Gab.
Thank you, Gab. Well, there are a lot of parallels that we work off of. Gab knows this, but for the context of everyone, when characterizing Juno, Nureyev, Buddy, and Vespa, all of them have parallels with each other, like all four of them. So we really just like to call it like a parallelogram. So when it comes to writing Reverse AU, we just work off of that little parallelogram that we have and like what the biggest themes of an episode are. So with like 3M, apart from it being like a new beginning that you have, the biggest like theme that we have going through 3M was basically just the concept of placing your trust on something that is like the whole thing with Nureyev and Juno has been like faith, transparency, and just trust. So like it's fitting that they started there, and it reaches like a through line with TFN. They continued that theme there, and we just tried to keep it going as best as we could.
I like to say that Juno, Nureyev, Buddy, and Vespa, they are all parallel lines that meet, you know? So everything, it's like an Ouroboros of character development and character moments and flaws
Oh,
and
classic.
struggles. Yes, my little classics reference. So it has been very rewarding to be able to take these themes that Kabert has given us in canon and to turn them on their head or be able
Yeah.
to extrapolate on them with two characters that we think are infinitely interesting and have infinite potential.
So our next question is like from Stas again. Buddy's mom is in like one line of all of Penumbra. So how did we come up with her as a character? And are there any parallels or moments or characters we drew inspiration from for her?
Well, I can give you two words right off the bat. Mommy and issues. Buddy's mom was basically just SJ and I drawing upon our own, like, personal, just not to air out our dirty laundry or anything, but we sat down.
A lot of writing is projection. It's fine.
Yeah, we basically, there was a session where we sat down. It was probably like 5 a.m. for SJ, as it usually is, where we sat down. It was when we were first conceptualizing Angel of Brahma. Because
Oh no, it was 1 p.m. I did not sleep.
Oh, it was 1 p.m. You did not. Okay, but we sat down and we just hashed out, because up until that point we hadn't really figured out where we wanted to go with Buddy's backstory. All we really have for her is, you know, the grew up in a prison, father was a prison warden, killed by dark matters, mom died,
Burst your ego every morning.
burst her ego every morning. That was the thing that I clung onto a lot for that.
Yeah.
We ended up going with this idea of a woman who is never satisfied with Buddy,
With what Buddy gives.
with
Yeah.
what Buddy gives her, is always disappointed in her. And so
Yeah.
a lot of Buddy's actions and a lot of her motivations and her moral core in Reverse AU has to do with her as a child wanting to impress her mother and then growing resentful of her mother, and most of it is out of spite.
Right.
You know, I really thought the father angle, I didn't think that was that interesting when
Yeah.
it comes to Buddy's character. And
Well, it is funny that Stas very specifically mentioned characters and like characters we drew inspiration from for her, because very specifically when I was writing Phoenix of Soul, a lot of Mr. Ilke was like just Juno lines, so don't look into that one. But yeah, when it came to like parallels to Buddy's mom, yeah, it was just a lot of like analyzing what would a person like so proud of herself and like all of the achievements like she's done in her life, and just she earned all of that, what would a person like infinitely just finding some fault in that kind of person be like?
yeah.
That's pretty much just the inspiration for all of Mrs. Oringo.
Yeah, because of course, you know, with Angel of Brahma, there's that figure of Mag, and I think we wanted something to parallel or at least like relate to Nureyev's relationship with Mag, not in that
Right.
they're similar, but in that it is that kind of parental
Yeah.
vibe going on. So to
Right, because
actually have a parent who doesn't love you as
Yeah.
opposed to someone who isn't your parent and does love you, well,
Right.
you know,
Because Nureyev and Buddy have that one thing of like they want someone who like they can depend on, because they're so incredibly independent
mm-hmm.
that you would think that the person that they really want to impress would try to support them.
Mm-hmm.
And with Nureyev he does get that, but with Buddy we don't.
Yeah.
which is sad.
Yeah. Very
Yes.
specifically when Heart of It All came out,
Mhm.
there's that whole monologue where she talks about how she was belittled, so she wrote
Wanted to
every
have
word so she'd always have a retort, and she built
Yeah.
herself up so that nobody could tear her down. And just having that come from a place that is so close
Yeah.
from a parental figure, I think was
Yeah.
I really like what we did. Buddy's mom is probably one of
Yeah.
my favorite things that we've done.
We come up with.
Yeah, and well, the
Yeah,
name
because
is just
yeah,
Which-
we'll get there.
we'll get there.
But yeah, Buddy's character, like unraveling Buddy's like insecurities and like finding what her relationship with her mom was like. It was the most amazing thought experiment we
it
could
was
ever write.
awesome. It was actually so epic.
Right. So, from your bro Julian,
Woo!
what helps you get into your respective characters before you record, and are there any silly little recording bloopers out there?
Yes. Well, there are literally bloopers for this Q&A. So, but in terms of bloopers for actual episodes, one of my favorites is from when we first recorded 3M. I was still at home, so I didn't really have like a good way to block off sound and make like a booth. So I recorded in my closet, which was very dusty, so there were a lot of sneezes and me going, oh my god, why am I so sneezy? But one of my favorite moments was, I was sitting, I was recording some sickening Vespa monologue, whatever. I hear the door open. You can hear footsteps in the recording. And I go, oh no. And then you hear my door open. Jeanette, where are you? I'm like, hi. Yeah, I'm in the closet. Yeah, I'm recording. Sorry. Door closes. Footsteps walk away. Fuck. Remember my mom coming into the room and being like, what the hell are you doing? I'm just like, don't mind me. I will also say that a lot of my bloopers I do them in character because I don't like,
heard them firsthand.
especially for Buddy, because a lot of her lines are so quick. Like, when I'm getting back into them, it's just one long run-on sentence, and then I'm like, oh no, I messed it up. Let me go back to the beginning. Woo, just kind of a whole thing. And then when it comes to getting into character, Vespa, I like to, warm up the rasp, because it's just
Oh,
all
Lord.
in the throat. All in the throat and in the cheeks, like I'm a little
Oh,
frog.
Granny.
But not to be that
The
guy.
mental image.
The mental, just a little frog with Vespa's like green mullet, just a little like ribbit, But when it comes to Buddy, Vespa's not my mainstay. Buddy's my mainstay. It's kind of like the thing that I do. It's literally just as easy as breathing, which is so sad. Like, it's just, I don't have to do anything. I just kind of slip into it.
It just comes to you.
It just comes to me. I mean, she lives in my brain, so it makes sense. And then all the other little voices are just kind of like, it's McRory,
Well, I'm not really much of an actor until recently.
I've
Since meeting
corrupted
Jeanette.
them. I've corrupted them with my influence. I've unlocked your
We're a
latent
plague,
array
come on.
of theaterisms.
Stop. We're a plague duo. Of course we've corrupted each other.
That's facts.
But when going into characters, like when I did cast, I think that was the most serious recording I've done so far.
So good.
Um
Absolutely stellar performance.
when going into character, it's just like a point of like how would someone incredibly distressed in the situation actually sound. a lot of it is actually just acting out. And when it came to Cecil like crying about his dad, that was actually just me tearing up. So it was very natural. A lot of my recording bloopers are of like me doing Jet, but like I edited them out so no one can know about them. Not a lot of Cecil bloopers.
Oh no,
That's the
Cecil
one
is
thing I'm
your
expecting.
buddy. Comes as easy to you
No.
as eating a fruit. He is a fruit.
We'll get to when I do an array of voices.
Oh my god. Don't stir me up.
Stop.
If you do,
Stop.
I'll hit my head and I will die.
Oh my god. Okay, next question.
Next
A lot
question.
of dress up.
All right, these are some good ones from Danny and Trisha, respectively. Scale
Lord.
of 1 to 10. How likely am I to pass away from how good Time Gone By is going to be? And do you think we, as a fandom, are ready for Time Gone By Reverse AU?
I think it's a solid 8.
Mm,
I've said this.
You
It's a
have.
solid 8.
yeah.
Considering the fact that most of the people I've been seeing, especially like just people from like the page number GC, are not coping well with the finale. I don't know if any
I
of
can't
them
imagine
are as
why.
prepared as they think they are.
The finale was so unemotionally draining. I mean, come on, we got the sexy Ruby 7 theme.
Yes.
How could you be mentally ill after that? I'm cured. Relocation services? Come on.
Yes. But yeah, solid 8. None of you are ready from my like vantage point. Especially because I plan on being as evil about it as possible.
Oh yeah, all you Juno and Nureyev kinnies, hold on to your fucking britches. I'm not as willing to downplay my work as SJ is, and I'm saying that it's gonna be an 11, and you all are going to
Lord.
die.
Oh god.
That's what I'm
Gab,
saying.
I'm coming after you, Gab.
Yeah, we are coming for Gab, your throat, very specifically.
Gab
Gab
specifically.
and Taz. I'm calling you both out.
Oh god.
You guys
Follow them on Twitter.
follow
Navy
them
Blue
on
Art
Twitter.
Tazatui.
Hee hee.
What is something you think we do better in the reverse A than canon?
jokes.
The,
The jokes.
the jokes with a D.
The jokes.
I the side voices for me. I think.
Okay, fair.
McCrory really stole the show
Oh,
for a
yeah,
second there.
Give yourself some credit, Cardo. I mean, nothing does beat, though, like, when you're listening to an episode and you just hear Kevin Vibert, like, being Kevin Vibert. Like, High Agent B.
We're just listening to Tools of Wrestling like, oh, it's Kevin Vibert.
Oh, it's Kevin Vibert. Wow. Or
Oh, he just got shot.
I
Okay.
also do love Mix Kaner because every time they come on, I'm just like, hello, travelers. Sophie Takagi
Wow.
Kaner here. I'm just like, wow, that's Sophie Takagi Kaner. No way.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got one last question. We got 3.
We do have 3, but our kind of the clincher. These are both from Julian. Have you
Thank you,
planned
sir.
anything else after these 6 episodes end? And
Ooh.
where will we go from here?
Wow. So this is a big announcement.
Oh
I feel
yes,
like I'm-
make the
I
announcement.
feel like I'm.
I'll
I
drum
feel like
roll.
I'm announcing. Oh Lord, that's loud.
Yes.
So originally we were just gonna do 6 episodes. 3M3M, TFN, Final Resting Place, Time Gone By, Man in Glass, and Shadows on the Ship. Those were the original 6 episodes we were aiming for that we announced for like the drop of the script for Railroad's Gamble. And since season finale, we now have an additional, I think, 2, 3 2 or like I think it's just 2, but like
Well, I mean, if one of them is a 3-parter.
yeah, pretty much. So Heart of It All and What Lies Beyond will be on the roster as well.
Yes.
We'll see.
And we?
Mhm.
You thought you cared about Rita before, huh?
Oh god.
You thought. Soul of the
No.
People made you cry? Them in What Lies Beyond parts 1 and parts 3 made you cry?
Prepare your health insurance. Girls.
Yeah. Ouch.
You will all need the Cure Mother Prime after this.
The emotional Cure Mother Prime to heal your wounds, your internal bleeding from this. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we have our last most important question
Oh,
from the
yes.
king himself.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
From the king himself, Tazatui asked, "How does it feel like to have a brain this big?"
My neck hurts. That's what I have to say. I don't know about you.
Well, very consistently when I stay up doing these things and just dehydrate sometimes.
Oh yeah.
It
Oh,
does.
yeah.
My head does start to hurt, but I've been told, that my brain can be wrinkly sometimes. Jeanette likes to say that I have a brain so smooth you can't see the wrinkles.
It's because it's so fat. It's so like swollen with thoughts that all of the wrinkles
It's disturbing.
have just unfolded and it's smooth. Because you know how like a lot of times people are like, wow, I have a smooth brain, like I don't have any thoughts. No.
No.
These brains, they're smooth because
They're
we're
so fat.
geniuses. Actually geniuses. You thought our egos were big at the beginning of
Oh god.
jokes /J sarcasm.
/J.
Yeah, /J.
SRS.
SRS. No, that's serious.
Oh, I don't know any of these.
Oh my
I'm not
God.
hip with the kids.
Oh my god, what are you, Steve Buscemi?
No, Peter Ray.
Okay, Kenny. But anyway, I think that's all the time we have for today.
That's
if
all the
you've
time you have for
enjoyed
today.
this tale,
If you
please
enjoy,
consider supporting the actual Penumbra podcast on Patreon, please.
And
Support
also us.
Kevin and Sophie, and we may have co-fees. We may. I'll
We
just
may.
say, well, I mean, I do voice acting commissions. I do requests. You know.
I might do fic commissions in the future.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. You ever want Rita to recite the B movie script for you? I got you. What did I do for
You
Danny?
sure about that?
The Minecraft of sex.
Oh my god.
Mr. Steele!
on.
This is truly the Minecraft of sex. Yeah. Thank you all so much. We couldn't have done this Q&A without all of your wonderful questions and also your support. Thank you
Yep.
guys for just being literally the best audience, the best fans, the best dartboard that we throw our ideas at, that
Yep.
you could be. We love you all. Goodbye.
We love you guys. Bye.